Hey folks, Carl here and welcome to episode 5 of Eduard's BF109G2. And as you've just seen in the spray booth, we have got the primer down. Now, while we're waiting on that to dry, the decision has been made to go with scheme B, which is this one. And we've got our decals out and ready to go. So we are going to need to paint this whole plane, by the looks of it, white. Top and bottom, and there is a mottling effect on the plane. Now, before we added the primer, I went and did some testing with some mottling effects, and let me zoom you in. So we put down a white base coat, and then this side we sprayed little blobs and dots of Tamiya's X19 smoke, and on this side we sprayed down some standard flat black. We then went and gave a very light dust coat of the flat white again. Now the dot pattern looks better spread out on this side, but I think the colour and the faded looks better on this side. This was the first side I did, so this was the first time I'd done these dots. So this side looks better for the dots, this side looks better for the colours. So we are going to go with flat white and smoke. So we just need to wait for that primer to dry, and then we shall get on with spraying flat white. Okay folks, our primer is now dry, and I have gone and I have masked the front nose on the propeller, ready for spraying. So the white is mixed. We have all our parts here that we're going to spray first, and we have the plane sitting just to the side of us here. So this is quite a thin mix of white. So we're going to put on a very light coat to start off with, and then build it up a little bit at a time. Airbrush on. Let that fill up. And we will switch our vent on as well. And it's getting a little bit noisy, so I'm going to shut up and just get on with it. Okay folks, that is our white coat on. It's going to need a little bit more, but I'm going to let it dry out because it's starting to get a bit thick in a few places. So when this is dry, I shall put another coat back on and we shall talk to you then. Okay folks, we have finished getting the base paint down, but it's turned out very slightly rough. So we've been taking the UMP buffer sticks. We've not been using the really smooth side, but we've been using the green side, and it is taking the very slight lumps. I don't think you're going to manage to see it because of this, because of how white this is, but let's have a look. Very, very slightly rough texture on the wings and a little bit on the underside. Can you see it? Little bits and pieces here. So the green side of the UMP puffy sticks is absolutely perfect. And I'll be going round and taking, don't need to press very hard, literally just going round very lightly, going over all the surfaces of the model, and you can actually feel it as it goes over the rougher parts and as it smooths it out. Just thought I'd stop and show you that. You can see on this buffer stick the very thin white paint, and of course you can just wipe it on your trousers and it's almost as good as new. These buffy sticks last absolutely ages. I am still using this one and it's still going strong. Obviously it's a little bit dirty for doing this white paint, so we've got a brand new one out. On this side I've already done. You may be able to hear it that it's not taking anything off, whereas compared to this side, or on the tops and the sides, you hear it taking some of the paint away. So I'm going to smooth all of this out, or as much as I can anyway, and we shall talk to you in a moment. Okay folks, that is our model all now sanded down a touch to make it nice and smooth again, and we are now ready to attempt the mottling. We're going to go in with this side, a little bit more faded than this side, so I've already pre-mixed up my smoke to get some into the airbrush. And of course I'll have another quick practice on this just to make sure we've got where we're pulling the trigger back to right and it's not spluttering or anything like that. You see how that's spluttering quite badly. So I am going to go and clean my airbrush and we'll be back in a moment. Okay folks, that is us airbrush cleaned. So as you can see, before it was quite splotchy, so now we should be, there we go, much better. It always pays to do a little test spray first before you actually start on your piece, because we would have ruined and we would have been stripping back paint right there. So this onto here so we can spin it around slightly over there. I'll get our test piece back here so we can keep on checking to see our spray. So we're going to start from the back and work our way forwards. It's not the best angle for the camera to see. Okay folks, so we are back in the spray booth. I've finally managed to get a little bit more flat white, and we are now going to give this a very light coat over the top to blend all this mottling in. So I've got a little bit of paint in the brush. I'm going to do a very quick test spray to make sure it's not splattering or spluttering or anything like that, just in case we need to give it a good clean through. We're looking for a very light coat, just like that, and that is spraying pretty good. So let's get the compressor kicking in. We'll get this out of the way. That ready to put it in, and off we go. There we go, a lot more subtle on the effect that we're getting, so it's just not quite as stark. So all that's left for me to do now is to go over that canopy again with a proper flat black. So, oh, a little bit more on the back here. There we go. So, painting we've got left to do, we've got to redo the canopy, the matte black, and then we've got the yellow accents underneath the engine, and there's a band around the back of the fuselage as well. So I'm going to let that dry, get my airbrush cleaned up, and we'll be back in a moment. Okay folks, we are now going to very lightly go over this canopy with a bit of black. We've already got it in the cup. We've done a quick test spray, and that is coming through fine. So here we go. Okay folks, there we go. The canopy is now all black. We've got a little bit of overbleed into the white, which is probably the effect I'm looking for. We'll take a closer look once it's all dry. So, back in a moment. Okay folks, that is the plane now dry after putting on a very thin layer of white to tone down this mottling effect. So next up we are going to be masking off and going in with the flat yellow to get yellow wingtips underneath, the yellow band along the side here, and underneath the engine cowling. I'm using the yellow scheme from this, but I'm going to be using the decals from this scheme just because I like the yellow underneath the German symbol, but I much prefer these decals. So also completed is the propeller, and we've also finished the front nose cone. This needs just a little bit more clean up, and of course we have also almost finished the wheels. And there's the other one, just to make sure. So I'm not sure how long this episode's been going on, but I am going to call this episode done here. So when we come back, we will start masking up and get the yellow on, and then we can start looking at gloss and decal and all that kind of good stuff. So as always, thank you very much for watching. Be good, be safe, and as always, keep making models, and we shall catch you next time. Ta-ta.